This is the Halftime Show with Omar Al-Duri on Pulse 95.
Yes, welcome to the Halftime Show with Omar Al-Duri. I'm your host, covering everything sport, international and local. Hope you're doing well and having an incredible day. What a show we have in store for you today. Let's make it happen. So, okay, Ramadan hits the 50% mark, so we are halfway through Ramadan, which means we have probably discovered a couple of things about ourselves. Maybe shaking off the cobwebs, getting a bit lazy in the first couple of days, and rightfully so, but also getting a routine. So we're talking about that today. And what are we struggling with? Let's kind of strip it back a little bit and say, what is it that we've been struggling with in Ramadan, whether you're fasting or not, or whether just kind of embracing the month? We're going to be talking about that side and how we kind of rectify that on the show today. We're also talking about the Champions League results following yesterday, Chelsea versus Real Madrid, and tonight, PSG versus Manchester City. And the Hall of Fame has been released in the Premier League. So we're talking about that today. Who's missing? Have you seen the list? If you haven't, we'll be mentioning that on the show today. And sometimes stats can be deceiving. So are we looking at stats? Are we looking at performance? Or are we looking at more than that? We're checking that up on the show today as well. And we're also taking all your questions and your answers for the day. So make sure you stay tuned for more on the only place to be at 3, the Halftime Show on Pulse 95.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Al-Duri on Pulse 95.
Sure is that time. It's the Halftime Show with Omar Al-Duri. I'm your host, cover everything sport, international, local. Shout out to everyone who's tuning in on the Instagram Live. Thank you very much for connecting. What's up, Zulfi? I see you. Tariq, Lara, Terry, Shamsa, yep, I got that right. And what a name. Fahad, Zara, and everyone else who is locked in right now with me on Instagram. Okay, so Ramadan's hit the 50% mark right now. And what have we discovered about ourselves? Now, normally the first couple of days, you know, it just to get into the swing of things. So basically, maybe the lack of coffee in the morning, maybe your exercise routine has been switched around. Maybe you take a couple of days off just to kind of see how the body's going to respond. What have you found challenging? I think that's my question for you guys during Ramadan. The good stuff we've spoken about. We've spoken about nutrition on the show. We've spoken about training on the show. We've even spoken about matching your training and activity to your nutrition. We're kind of bringing all that in together. But what I want to ask you guys, 4215 Ittasalat or do, message me and let me know what has been the most challenging, and even better, let's add a positive twist to it. How have you overcome it? That's kind of what I'm kind of playing about with today. What's up, Ala, all the way from Saudi as well, who's locked in, sending his regards. Okay, so I think for the first couple of days for me was hearing so many contrasting things. Now, for those of you that were with us last year, I actually trained before suhoor, which was around 3 a.m. And the reason why, before you think I'm crazy, which I am, the reason why was because most of my clients who I train would like to do it just before iftar. So if I'm training clients, I can't retrain myself. And so that's one of the things that I experimented last year. Now, this year, I haven't done that. I've tried to go a different route. I've tried to probably experiment with different times. 1 to 2 just before I come into the radio. That was one time. 5 to 6 if I don't have any clients on that day, where I can kind of train, just do my thing. 6:30 to 7:30. Now you might think, why? Why would you train just as you're about to break fast? Well, here's the thing. Just being able to have some water and maybe some dates. I think that was kind of like the first thing that I brought with me to the session. And I was already in the middle of the session, so maybe 15, 20 minutes, had some water, dates, just kind of took my time a little bit and got back into it for the next 45 minutes, and then tried that out as well as an experiment. Then the 7:30 to 8:30, which I've seen a lot of people do. By that point, you're hydrated, probably had a little bit to eat, not too much, because it does come out quick. So tried that as well, and it was okay. You know, when I had Mark Doherty on the show, he was saying that he doesn't agree with, his opinion was not to agree with fasting while training while fasting. And I could see that. I could see the idea of why he would discuss that. When it comes down to health and fitness, he would say that the body already is dehydrated. Why put it even furthermore in dehydration? And so in that sense, that made sense. But again, every person is different, and the way that our bodies respond to activity is different. It might not be high intensity interval training that you're doing. It could be strength training. It could be more of a slow pace, lists or low intensity steady state training, or even something where you're just going for a walk or going for, something that's kind of casual, a nice little breeze through that. So with the activity in Ramadan, everyone kind of faced different challenges, whether it's a female or a male, whether they're going through their cycle or not. There were so many factors in sports science that we kind of looked at and said, well, the body adapts to the situation that we put it through. And it normally takes a couple of days where the sugar is then released in a certain way. And your fuel gets to fuel on whether it's carbohydrates or energy or fat or protein. It fuels off that. So all in all, it came down to finding what works for you in Ramadan. So I want you to tell me what has worked for you in Ramadan. We're 50% through the month already. It's been a blessed month so far. We've kind of been able to find ourselves, find our energy in that, and take it from there. And if you are training, has certain things worked more for you? Are you sleeping good enough? That's another one that's really, really good, when it comes down to Ramadan. And that's where we kind of reset our bodies, reset our minds. We kind of see what works for us and see how we can manipulate the domino system so that you don't feel like one thing is affecting the chain reaction. And that is how I've looked at it. And I've also asked different people at the gym. I've said to you, hey, how you doing? How you feeling? Some people are like, really tired, can't do it. Some people are like, feeling great. Some people are like, just getting on with it. I think I kind of go in the middle. Some days I feel good, some days I don't feel as energetic, but I just roll with it. I might go hard on one day, I might go soft on the other day, and just kind of take it easy, and something steady would be kind of good for me. So I want to know what you guys are thinking. Text me on 4215 Ittisalat Urdu, or even we've actually got a riddle for you as well. So I'm going to try and read you this riddle now. Here we go. Okay, so if you are tuned in, you can actually win 500 dirhams with us if you tune into the evening karak with Aishan Bazmi and Mikhail Aftaya, which is revealed at 9:30 today. The riddle is, after a fall, I decide to take over, then life starts to stall or starts to grow slower. What am I? SMS 4215. Shout out to everyone on the Instagram, Reem, Imrouni, Mustafa Hamid. We talk about books and he comes out straight away. About this in my way, where you used to say, give away signed copies. Man, that's why he's the man. Reem, Sarah, Ala, Amin, Zulfi. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back after this. Enjoy, folks.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Al-Duri on Pulse 95.
We are back and we are live and we are professional for those who are tuning on the Instagram live. Yes, we are back in Pulse 95 Radio Studios doing the Halftime Show. Now, if you did miss the show, don't worry. You can catch us on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, or Anghami, or head over to the YouTube channel and check out Pulse 95 Radio. I have some wicked guests on there talking wicked things from mental health, gut health, the way the brain conditions the body, the way the body conditions the brain. There's so much good stuff and more on there, so make sure you check that out. And everyone else who's tuned in and giving me all the comments on Instagram Live, thank you guys for making me feel loved. Okay, now, in the first part of the show, we spoke about Ramadan hitting the 50% mark of the schedule, and also what's been happening for you. Like, have you now got into a bit of routine? We've got 2 weeks left. When you think about it, actually, it's much. Listen, when you grow up in the UK and you do Ramadan over there, then you come over here, it's a breeze. Because in the UK, people are out munching. There's like normal working hours, longer fasting hours. It's very, very different. So, yeah, when you come over here and you hear the adhan and you're around family and you get to work with incredible people like these guys here, and it's alhamdulillah, it's much, much more lighter. Okay, cool. So Champions League results. I had some questions earlier. Tariq, if you're still here, he asked me, hold on, let me just scroll through and get this question out. Okay, here we go. Where is it? Yeah. What did you make of the loss yesterday? Well, firstly, Tariq, it wasn't a loss. It may have appeared to be like a loss, but it wasn't a loss. It was a 1-1 draw. And saying that, with Chelsea facing Madrid out there in Madrid, it wasn't at the Bernabeu, then the psychology of it is that with 1-1, it's kind of a better result than 0-0, mainly being the fact that there might be an away goal. But saying that, you've got the away goal, you go back to Stamford Bridge, you had to score anyway to win the game. It's a different psychology. However, with the chances created, especially in the first half was excellent. I kind of thought Chelsea would have been able to put the game to bed. Saying that, the experience of the midfield with Casemiro, Modric and Kroos, they're on another level when it comes down to how to manage games, game management. However, looking at that, you can say that now you have a clean slate to kind of get those players fresh. Tuchel likes to rotate. I had another question come in and say, What do you think of Tuchel so far? I think it's been good because I think, to be honest, when he's come in, he kind of... Let me give you a bit of a background on Tuchel. He kind of knows what to expect. He's seen managers come and go. The psychology of stepping into a new environment when it comes down to coaching is very different if you've seen 15 managers in, let's say, 15 years. It's very, very different. When you go to a place that's had a manager for 22 years, for example, it's different because you have to build a legacy and you kind of have to follow those footsteps. But when someone's been there for a year or two, the players have had that time with that coach and have pretty much been used to switching techniques, strategies, recovery periods, how they manage their preseason, if they have a preseason with COVID hitting. It's so many different things. So Tuchel has come in and said, I got asked to take the job, I took it, and I decided what I was going to do with my coaching staff on the plane. It was very, very quick. I don't know how long I'm going to be here, but if I do a good job, I'll stay. See, when you automatically, and I think this goes down in life in general, let alone just in coaching, but when you know your objectives and when you know what to expect, and you've kind of stripped down any illusion of, being in a dreamland. And yes, it's good to dream, but not in the sense that you think it's only going to go one way. And I think Tuchel's approach and his philosophy coming into the Chelsea game has got him these results because he's looked at the model, he's looked at what's happened before he's come in, and he's assessed the situation. So I think overall, he's done very, very well to come in, bring his staff with him. He's had experience with big personalities, and therefore it's working for him at Chelsea. He's got a good combination of experience in Azpilicueta, and he's also got the experience, the youth and the athleticism of your Mason Mounts and your Timo Werners and the players that are hungry and they want to prove a point. So looking at it overall, he's got really, really good squad to play about with. So if he didn't really hit the ground running, then you could have question marks at the end of the season. But so far, it looks like they're going to qualify for the Champions League. They're in the semi-final of the Champions League as we speak now. They've got a good chance to qualify into the final. And listen, maybe win it. You might say, hey, listen, what about PSG and Man City? Well, they're facing tonight and right on cue because PSG and Man City are favourites to win it. I'd say PSG probably were missing out in the final. Now have a big chance to be able to take this to another level. Pochettino's, in the realm now, and he's actually looking after the players. And so far he's done, I'd say, reasonably well. Maybe not necessarily in Ligue 1, but in the Champions League. Now, Ligue 1 or the French league is normally something you expect as a given. They've won it 8 years running, etc. That you know what they're going to do. But the Champions League, they've never won. If they win the Champions League and Pochettino's in charge, then all of a sudden we start to take his credentials seriously because his development has been very impressive, but not his awards. So you see how you kind of pace all these factors in when it comes down to coaching and development and results. It's a results business, whether you like it or not, whether you're doing big things or not. Sometimes there's no room for development because you have to be successful straight away. So here's how that's going to pan out. Now, looking at Manchester City and the way that Pep sets up his teams, one thing he's actually incredible at doing, and I will say this very, very honest with you guys, breaking up play. You might say they pass the ball around and they move it around and they do fantastic things as a football club. Yes, correct. But they also know how to stop you from doing that. And if you watch the Tottenham game against Manchester City and the way they stop play, the fouls, the fact that the same player doesn't break up play in certain movements and patterns on the pitch is what differentiates City from a lot of people. If they win all these trophies this year, that would be one of the main skills that they have that other teams don't have. And that's what I look at when I assess coaches, when I assess the way they manage the game. Sometimes you could be 1-0 up and you see someone bombing down the field and trying to score a second goal. Not with Pep Guardiola. Everything is pretty much analyzed and assessed in what moves and what patterns they have to play into. And this is the difference between Manchester City this year and Manchester City a couple of years back, because you've had to face the Liverpools at their pomp. You've had to face, the Real Madrids and the Barcelona. So now you kind of know how to manage the game. And that will be the key factor tonight against PSG when they face them. Yes, it's only one leg tonight, but the way they break up play and the way they avoid getting yellow cards might be the difference in this tie. Because if you look at people like Neymar, you look at people like Mbappe, tricky characters, very skillful, full of technical ability, full of speed, very sharp on the turn. That's going to be the difference coming into the Champions League tonight. So let me know what you think. 4215 at Salat or do. Thank you everyone who is tuned in right now and locked in with me on the Instagram. They're still talking about my age following after we found out how young Umnia is on the show. We're going to take a quick break, and the 23 players who've been nominated in the Hall of Fame, I want your feedback on that. Let me know what you think, and I'll be right back after this. Enjoy, folks.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Al-Duri on Pulse 95.
Yes, welcome back to the Halftime Show. Thank you very much for tuning in. A couple of good questions coming in today. Masoud, how would you remain in a proactive state? And we have another question. How you shape your mindset to be in that state? Very good questions, Masoud. Really like that. Enjoy that a lot. It comes down to doing things that actually are good for you. And I say that I know it sounds very, very simple, but even in Reset, we'll speak about that quite a bit. There's a lot of factors that feed into the brain. And in feeding into those, there are things that make you happy. They release endorphins, hormones, good emotions. And that comes down to, the other day, on the show I spoke about tips to train your brain, and it came down to exercise was one of them, obviously, fueling the body, meditation, gratitude, writing things down, putting things out, visually actually writing things out, whether you have a whiteboard or whether it's just on paper or even a gratitude journal. All these things really help with that. Spending time with the family, just putting your phone away for a second and just being able to embrace the time that you have with your family. If you have kids, or if you have your parents, or even if you enjoy just being around pets as well, there's so many things that kind of just make you happy, and that are really good ways to kind of keep that nice state, that steadiness in what's such an active lifestyle. Things seem to be so hectic, pre and post pandemic. A lot of times I heard from people and they were saying, I'm more busy now than I was before. These are things that is normal because the expectations are higher. People are getting really nervous and anxious about losing their jobs, and so they want to do more, and yet even when they're resting, their brain is still working. So that's why you kind of don't fall into a nice pattern of sleep. So that's just regarding that, Masoud. But you've got to be able to do things that are good for your brain, and you can't do that if you have bad habits, and we don't necessarily notice the bad habits, but they come from that. So hope that answers your question. Do things that make you happy. Spend time, on yourself. Self-love, self-care, really important. If you enjoy doing things, do more of them. If you enjoy reading, read more. If you like watching things on TV, if you like listening to podcasts, if you like, just spending time with kids or with family, I think that's really key for just kind of getting that nice balance and that steady state when it comes down to that. So I hope that's answered your question, Masoud. Okay, right. A couple of things happening at the moment now. Now, the other day, I got a bunch of messages from people saying, oh my God, did you see the 23 players nominated for the Hall of Fame after Thierry Henry and Alan Shearer were rightfully so inducted in the Hall of Fame, the first two in the Hall of Fame. That was really, really good. But when I look at the nominations, I was kind of like, I kind of look at these things sometimes, and maybe you're going to say this is the coach in me, but I kind of look at these things sometimes and wonder, what are they assessed by? Are they assessed by trophies? When you look at someone, whether it's in sport or in general, is it by the honors that you win, or is it based on how you make people feel, how you bring out the best in people? I think that's really key to look at. So when I saw Alan Shearer and Thierry Henry inducted in the Hall of Fame, for those that don't know those characters, Thierry Henry, arguably the greatest player to play in the Premier League, and Alan Shearer, the best goal scorer in the Premier League. Facts, proven, got the most goals in the league, and didn't move to a big club. So maybe he doesn't have necessarily the same trophies as the others, but has the respect. So this is where I'm kind of playing about with it. How do you define success? Is it by how many trophies you win, or is it by the performance, or how you make people feel? Now, when I looked at the 23 nominations for the Hall of Fame, I saw Tony Adams. Hey, you know how I feel about Tony Adams. Tony Adams is a legend and a great leader. So I can see why he'd be in there. Rio Ferdinand's in there. John Terry's in there. John Terry was actually on the show before, so being able to interview him and then seeing him in the Hall of Fame, that's always nice to see. Then you've got Andy Cole, Matthew Le Tissier. For those that don't know who that is, someone that stayed with Southampton, maybe didn't win the league, maybe didn't win, European trophies, but was an absolute legend for that. David Beckham, a household name, again, has been to the biggest clubs in the world, but doesn't always get the credit for his ability compared to his image rights. And someone that if you ask any of those fantastic players around the world will tell you he was one of the best players at what he did in the game. That's just out there. Robbie Fowler, Robin Van Persie, Ashley Cole, arguably the best left back in the Premier League history. Michael Owen, Dennis Bergkamp, Steven Gerrard, another one, stayed at Liverpool, could have moved somewhere else and won Champions Leagues but didn't win the Premier League. Does that define success? Nemanja Vidic, for me, wasn't there long enough. Didier Drogba, a striker of his own kind. Peter Schmeichel, in my opinion, the best goalkeeper ever. Sol Campbell, Roy Keane, another great leader. Patrick Vieira, giants in the game. See, when you look at these people, Les Ferdinand, Paul Scholes, probably someone on stats was not great, but if you ask most people, they'll tell you he was the best midfielder of his generation. Eric Cantona, another crazy, footballer that did some incredible things and was very controversial. Frank Lampard, goal scoring record, amazing. And Ian Wright. Those are the ones there. Now, looking at the nominations, you might be wondering, hey, why isn't this player there? The rules are they have to be retired to be inducted in the Hall of Fame. That's the first thing. So Cristiano Ronaldo, for example, isn't eligible because he's still playing. Then you look at people like Ryan Giggs. Has anyone won more trophies than Ryan Giggs? Is it his off-the-field antics that have caused a space for him not to be in the Hall of Fame following the court situation he's going through at the moment now? And then I look at someone like Cesc Fabregas. Now, you might say, it's because you're an Arsenal fan. Cesc Fabregas' stats are probably better than Kevin De Bruyne. And you might be thinking, what? And Kevin De Bruyne, by the way, in my opinion, is the best midfielder out there at the moment. But if you look at stats, and we're going by stats here because you've told me that that's what you want, from the Hall of Fame. The Premier League all-time assists, Cesc Fabregas has more than Kevin De Bruyne. So why isn't he in the Hall of Fame? Let's just put it out there. Ryan Giggs isn't in the Hall of Fame. 162 assists. That tells you something as well. Wayne Rooney, 94 assists. You see what I mean? So how do we judge success? I'm just putting it out there now, and I want to know from you guys, from the list that I've actually named, who do you think should be there and who shouldn't be from the list I've named, and why? Tell me why. Don't just tell me who you think. Tell me why you think that person should be there. We'll take a quick break right now, and we'll be right back. I'm going to play you some Just the Two of Us. Bill Withers. Here you go. Enjoy, Mustafa. This one's for you.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Al-Duri on Pulse 95.
It sure is that time, and it's the Halftime Show. We're nearly at full time, actually, on the Halftime Show. Thank you very much for tuning in. Some really, really good things happening today on today's show. The term greatest is often easy on the tongue, but the Premier League released a Hall of Fame nominee list, and I was asking you today if you agreed with that list. If you didn't catch the show and you had missed out on what we said earlier, remember you can catch all of our shows on YouTube on Pulse 95 Radio. Did you agree with the nominees? Who should be in there? Who shouldn't be in there? That's another one. Looking at all those big profiles, but also we were talking about Ramadan. Ramadan's hit the 50% mark, and the energy is fire when it comes down to Ramadan, especially after the first few weeks. So we've already, alhamdulillah, reached the halfway mark and going to the second. My question to you was, what have you discovered about yourself in Ramadan? Whether you're fasting or not, whether you're Muslim or not, have you discovered something different? Have you taken up a hobby? Are you doing things differently? How has the food been now that the hours are different? Do you find that you are recording your meals down? Are you tracking them on apps, or do you kind of measure your food? If not, that's fine as well. But also, how is your sleep? My sleep is awful. That's something that I think has been, I need to work on that, definitely, because I wake up for Fajr prayer normally, and when it comes down to being like a couple of hours away, I'm thinking, what's the point of falling asleep? I can just pray and then go to bed. But yeah, my sleep has been awful. So yeah, definitely not something that I want to do. Ramadan, Kareem, to you two more. Okay, so let's see. You would need our guy at your age. Only Omar needs it. Thanks, Mustafa. Appreciate that. Brendan Rogers snubs Tottenham. Yes. Again, I'm gonna try, not to be biased, but why would you leave Leicester for Tottenham right now? The London clubs or the super clubs aren't really as super as we've seen them. So I can understand why Brendan Rodgers, would do that. But also, I also think that's a way of him getting more money as well. We've seen how managers act when it comes down to contract disputes and talks and everything like that. So I can see that, why he'd probably have that. Come on in, Big Hass. Come on in. Do it. Yeah, just that's probably why he's rejected Leicester, and I've kind of looked at that and thought, yeah, he's got a project at the moment. They look like they might be qualifying in the Champions League, so why not? Why not? But yeah, it's I can see why you're saying that. Murad, it's definitely something that I've looked at and can consider. But keep those questions coming in. What's up, Big Hass? How you doing, man? Why don't you jump on the mic, Big Hass? Talk to me. Tell me what's coming up on your show, man. This guy, the legend. Let's give him a round of applause up in this place. Where's the round of applause? You, Big Hass. Big Hass in.
Big round of applause to you, my brother.
Big Hass, what's going on?
OD, man, what up, man? I love how you always bring, how much time we got? Because I have a lot of things.
Time.
Okay, cool. You always bring the mental / spiritual heart elements when it comes to sport.
I appreciate that.
And I love that, really. We need more people like you. Seriously, I'm seriously talking right now. Because I believe that basketball is life, for example.
Yeah.
And it's not only 1 + 1 = 2 where you play, you shoot. There's a lot of things in it. Mm-hmm. And I love your show, my brother. And may Allah bless you.
Man.
And bless Ramadan to you and your lovely following. And I want to shout out your people, man, because you were able to, come through right here and establish this incredible show. And I just love your energy, my brother. Reset, go buy that book. What are you doing? Go buy that book, man. Merch coming soon, right? Oh,
yeah. The merchandise is coming soon. We start off very humbly, but hey, I also appreciate your support in Reset.
Of course.
You had a big role to play in that. The launch of that, I can't forget that as well, man.
That was a monumental day for me.
That was huge.
Because everything that you stand for and you do, my brother. Like I said, again, we need more people like you in the region because people really take sports as خلاص نلعب we break a sweat and that's it, but it's bigger than that. And you bring that element. I see it in your talks, see how you talk about it, and it's just incredible. Yalla home, man. We're a show that talks about nothing, bro. Like me and Anna Schofield. Always,
I'm always entertained, man. I like the balance with you and Anna, actually. Yeah. But let me just allude to something you said. You said basketball is life. What does basketball mean to you?
Life, bro. Everything about it. The game saved me, man. So many. I've been on this beautiful show before, and I said it. The basketball is life, and I am really in the process of writing some sort of a book or whatever it is you're gonna call it.
What?
Yeah, because I really want to. I really want people to see where this is coming from, man.
Okay.
This basketball is not only just shooting a hoop. It's safe, and only people who play basketball play football if they're football fanatics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I appreciate, but a lot of things coming. And by the way, I just want to say thank you so much for clearing out what the Super League situation. I was tuning in that day. Not a lot of people understood what is going on. But you broke it down because you took your time.
Yes.
You're one of the only shows that took time. You didn't really, سرعت في الموضوع. على طول, like that was beautiful.
I'll tell you a funny thing. So I played football that night. Monday when it came out, I played football on Monday, and I went and there was 16 players there. As soon as I touched the field, yo, Omar, what's happening with the Super League? I said, guys, give me some time. Let me see what's happening. I went home. My mom said to me, Omar, how's my Super League?
God bless her.
I was like, I said to my mom, I was like, Mom, give me a day.
Yeah.
I need to see exactly. I need to have facts before I can jump in. And
then when you came in, I mean, the social media have spoken.
Yeah.
People have spoken. And people, I believe, won. That's all.
For now.
Okay.
For now. It's something that, the fans have spoken, but the owners are still owning the club. So it's
money.
Yes, and it's keeping things pending at the moment, which is, the thing is like trying to disrupt something that's consistent in sport is already something that a lot of people try to do when they don't have the full power of it.
Facts.
Now I'm talking about people from outside of England who have huge clubs that they own, like your Real Madrids and your Barcelonas and these guys, and the Juventuses of this world. They're the ones who by name and by history are huge. But the problem is they're not earning as much as the Premier League are earning.
Yeah.
And even though those clubs might not be doing well results-wise in the Premier League, they're still doing really well financially. So they're worth over 3.3 billion when it comes down to that. So if you want to change the club, a couple of voices might be good for now, but the club is still owned by people who aren't interested in that. Like if we look at, for example, you mentioned basketball, right? NBA.
Yeah.
With the Americans tend to love their sport, which is basketball, baseball, NFL.
Yeah.
But when the Americans own the Premier League, it's a business. It's not something where it's going to turn into a passion. So why would Stan Kroenke of, let's say, for example, Arsenal, why would he care if fans are outside the stadium when he's got an American football club, a basketball club, and everything else?
Yeah, that's
You see? So that's where it's at the moment. But I love the fact that you relate life to basketball. I think that's really impressive.
Thank you for getting me on, man.
What's your favorite basketball movie?
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
Man, I mean, a lot of people would say White Man Can't Jump.
Right, that's a classic.
But for me, I would say He Got Game.
Okay.
You know He Got Game?
Yeah.
Denzel and Ray Allen.
Yes.
Just an incredible film.
Yeah, it was a classic as well.
Classic.
Yeah.
LeBron James is dropping Space Jam Part 2.
What do you think of that?
I don't know.
Should the original be remade?
Nah.
Right?
In my opinion, no. But I love LeBron, man. He's somebody on and off the court. And that's exactly what I was talking about when it comes to you, bro.
Yeah.
People, LeBron James, some Fox anchor told him to shut up and dribble.
Yeah.
What, you know what I mean? They think that if you're a radio host or if you're a basketball player, football player, you got no right to have an opinion about what's going on in the outside world.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about LeBron. LeBron speaks his mind.
Yes.
And he has a big platform. He has a school. Man, he's incredible. No, big up to him, but I don't think Space Jam could be touched, man.
I wanted to ask you specifically because I know you're in love for that. I haven't seen the second one. I've only read things about it, but to be honest, the first one, man. You know it's good when you can watch it at any time in your life and you can still enjoy it.
Facts, bro. It's coming out soon. I can't wait to see it, but big up LeBron. But again, no one is gonna touch MJ's legacy with that one. But some movies you don't touch, in my opinion. You know? But again, I can't wait to see it, and I can't wait to check it out. But again, you guys, it's all about OD, man. I'm gonna do it. Go follow him, man. Incredible guy. Seriously.
Thank you.
What you bring to the table, bro. What you bring to Pulse. What you bring to the region here is really needed. And I can't wait to get you back on coaching, bro.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
You are a coach? I wish you're my coach.
Man.
Like if you're back, I'm gonna start playing football because I want you to be my coach.
I heard you can play, by the way.
I'm a goalie.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, look at my size, bro.
The rumors are true?
I don't have to move, and that's it. I block it.
But you can at least, you know what? The ball will stick. When you put your hand out, you catch it rather than people that parry it.
You know how you put people under fire always. Who's your favorite goalkeeper ever?
Me?
Yeah.
Peter Schmeichel.
Oh, I love you.
Yeah. Peter
really?
Schmeichel. Yeah.
Schmeichel?
Yeah.
Yo, that dude.
Yeah, he's the greatest for me.
Man, I love him, but I love Casillas, but Schmeichel.
Yeah, he's a done.
Oh my God, man. My love and respect to you just went on.
I had that ready.
Much love to you, Odie.
Thank you very much. That was Big Hash. Remember, you can still catch him and Anascope every day on Yalla Home, right? New times this time, right?
4 p.m. to 6 p.m. in Ramadan, man. Blessings. We just get people ready for iftar.
Yeah.
Get them annoyed a little bit, and then they...
Controversy, I love it. And there you have it, folks. You have reached full time on the halftime show. It's not every day I get Big Hass on the show, man.
Blessings,
so I had to take advantage of that. But thank you very much, Big Hass. Enjoy his show. Make sure you tune in, and I'll see you guys every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, 3 to 4, on the only place to be at 3, the halftime show on Pulse 95. Woo!
If you liked this episode of The Halftime Show, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.